The first generation was a 154. Then the next generation was a 185. The next generation was a 184, and it was red, and it had a starter down here. So now you're asking how does this thing start? When the starter is not engaged, this is a generator, so that when this is turning, it's actually generating 12 volts or thereabout and charging the battery that sits back there. They don't charge very consistently, if at all. I'm not sure, even though it's a brand new unit, I'm not sure that it really is charging it. I ordered a mini alternator, and my goal is to mount that joker right here somewhere. There's a lot of folks that replace that starter with it and mount a starter right there, but you got to have a ring gear on your flywheel right there. You have to take all this apart to put one on there. Not only that, the starters cost $150, $160, $200. Rather than spending all that money to put a starter on it, right now I'm just going to put an alternator on it so that it charges the battery. So I bought a mini alternator. I'm going to put the alternator right here in this hole, where on the other tractor over there you had this can right here, like in that spot, right? I spent an hour or so fabbing up this little contraption. Now on the other tractor over there, there's a bend in this piece right here, and these two holes go right here, and so that piece stands up right here, and then your hose comes up into the bottom of it, and that's your air intake. Okay, I needed to put an alternator right here, and it turns out that this bracket that's going to hold the alternator in place was going to hit the bottom of that air filter if I'd left it alone. So I had to flatten this out, roll it from here. It's going to roll over here, and then the alternator is going to sit right here and be able to adjust with this thing here riding on the belt. So let's look again here. This is my bracket. I took a piece of plate that I had laying there. It had 4 holes drilled in it, and I had a bolt. I had to drill out the pivot hole on the alternator. I didn't think it was between a 3/8 and 7/16. So I drilled it out to 7/16 to work with my 7/16 bolt that I picked out of my scrap hardware, and I welded the bolt to the plate, and then I had to have something to space the alternator off of that plate. So I got a piece of pipe and welded on there also. It's spaced out at the right distance. This is all going to fall off. I don't want to put it together too much. I don't want to show you the whole thing until it's put together. But put the pipe on there. It's got some washers that go on there for a little shimming action. Like I said, I flattened this piece here out with a cutting torch. I got that red hot and beat it on a heavy piece of steel until it was flat. Line those 2 holes up there, tacked it down. This is cut because when it was been around here, like still had the bend in it, I thought this piece, this notch, would clear this thing, but it turned out it wouldn't do well enough. So that's when I realized I can flatten this out and turn it around. Now this thing sits over here real close to the fuel tank. The exhaust had this right here on it is what was left, and so I cut that off. I'm going to turn this out toward us here to do something to get some exhaust going. I'm thinking I may just take one of those regular lawnmower mufflers going coming straight out at us. May have to weld a 1 1/4 nipple on it. This is 1 1/4 pipe. I'm assuming that's 1 1/4 pipe right there. But I had to stop all my progress and get my camera because I wanted to show everybody this. This is something that might give some folks trouble if they're trying to do something here. So this was completely rusted up. You couldn't really see the ring there. Kind of like here, except you can see this ring, this nut. I want to show you what I did here to loosen this up. It's not even loose yet. I don't know that I can turn this, but I know I made the ring move, even though I thought I never would. What I did, I took my punch, and when I hit it here, I just kind of hit it, locked it in there, and started tapping on it pretty solid. And it didn't move, of course. So I thought, well, so I come around here, and I hit it back here, and I hit it around here, and it didn't move. I thought, well, that means it's rusted up there pretty good, so I need to break it free. So what I did was I hung it up here under the bottom of the nut, and I tapped on it, which made this little ear sticking out there, made it pop up a little bit. And then I hit it here, and it made it pop up a little bit. Next thing you know, I could see, you can see this line right here real clear. I couldn't see that earlier. So I hit it there, and I hit it here, and that made it pop loose. And so I hit it right here 2 or 3 times, just tapping on it, and that joker spun around. You can see the fresh brown rust right there where it moved. This ear used to sit right there. So that's how far I moved it before I stopped. I never really thought that would come loose, but now we can see the threads down in there. I'm really scared here. All I'm trying to do there is put a little vibration in it and vibrate some of that. If there's a crack in there around those threads, just let that oil start to soak in there. I can see little bitty tiny bubbles right in there. I know y'all can't see it, but it's moving. Never, ever would have thought that it would have been that easy. Just absolutely easy. Now I'm guessing I can take this ring, if I can get it to thread back down there, and lock it. Because I'm thinking I'm just going to weld on this pipe rather than fight everything that I just did. That's good enough. That's pretty neat. Let's get in there and look at it. I hope you can see. I hope I hope you're watching this to learn something about it. I want to tell you about my cut here. I had to cut about a 1/2 inch off the hose to get up here to a solid part, and that moved it back just a little bit because the hose actually came up right here to start with. So I cut that and moved the hose back a little bit there, so it's kinked a little bit, not a lot, it's just barely kinked right there. I had to cut this piece right here off the other end, and it bolts up, it tightens up right there just perfect. But you can see I got some adjustability here. You see the clearance there, but that's with the pulleys touching. So I've got some adjustability in there. Got a lot of adjustability in there. And not only that, I've got adjustability on the other side with this adjustable bracket. So I'll be able to get the belt tight. Also, I had these this bracket here pulled all the way up. This is a fan bearing. Uh-oh. Yeah, it's rolling the generator over there. So I had the fan all the way up trying to get the belt tight on the generator for the years I've been running it. It's never been really tight. So I had this bracket right here pulled all the way up. I went ahead and dropped that back down. That'll help me run a smaller belt. Also, I had the fan blade, when it was up high, the fan would get into the shroud up here or over here, and it was just a headache. You know, I don't think now I'll have to listen to it. I should have plenty clearance at the bottom. So anyway, so on the generator side, I never really realized this. I've had this tractor for, man, at least 11 years. You see how that piece of tubing is not lined up with the top of that bracket? That has the pulley out of alignment with the rest of the pulleys. And not only that, well, I can pull it up there a little closer, but I gotta work on my shimming and get it lined up with the other pulleys just right, so that I can try to get it tight. It's not in alignment, and so I don't think, it's like the belt is rubbing over here on this side, on this edge, on the top, and then it's coming off on the bottom, maybe, if you know what I'm trying to say. So I think if I can level this tube here out, I'll have to cut these welds and bend it down, not bend it, but there's a weld here and 2 welds on top. Cut those welds and bring the front of this down just a touch and weld it back up. I think the pulley on the generator will line up a lot better on the tractor, and it will do a better job starting. So we're going to do that. So y'all hang out. 'Tis a new day. I've been out here piddling with this thing a little bit. I've been back and forth to the store a few times. Look at this. Got a belt on it, nice and tight. I got 1 wire on it. Right now I think it's hanging loose over there. But man, I like this thing. I gotta do exhaust on it. Get this thing lined up nice and pretty on it. I'm gonna take this off here in a minute. Alright, I hope you guys can hear me in this hard wind we got blowing. Last night, I decided for some reason to take this piece of pipe out of the L that was sticking out here. And for some reason, I don't remember why now. I think I was gonna, yeah, I do. I had another piece here. I was gonna come out with it and turn here, and then weld that part right there, cut that, and weld a muffler to it. Anyway, so I went to trying to get this loose right here at this joint, and when I did, I noticed it popped up a little bit. It just very minute movement, and I thought, well, that's crazy. That means I broke the threads down here, probably broke the manifold or something bad. And anyway, dug into it a little bit. Well, turns out when I got done turning it around, like you just saw there, that it was pretty much unthreaded from the hole. So so this morning, me and my dad were out running some errands. So I ran by a hardware store and I picked up some new parts. So what I've done, because the threads in this manifold are not really great, I cut some slots into it with my grinder wheel, with my cutoff wheel, to help clean the threads as I threaded in there. So let's see what happens when I thread this joker in. I think I'm going to stop right there and call that tight. And I bought another nipple to bring that out. And some more lock rings. Lock nuts, I'm sorry. I should use the proper terminology. Lock nut. Lock that on there. That ain't going nowhere. And then we're going to put this on there. Sometimes I feel like I just don't have a big enough tool, you know? And I think I'll weld that right there, and we'll see if this muffler will work on this Cub. It's already really quiet anyways. Doesn't really need exhaust. Alright, so this is the outcome. Hold on, I got one more thing. Alright, here it is. All hooked up and charging. Here's your exhaust. I bet you guys didn't know that Flowmaster made mufflers for International Cub Loboy 185s. Check out the weld I put on that joker. Look, even the pipes came from Flowmaster. I replaced my throttle cable, so now I got a throttle cable to work with. Put a seat on there last night. The seat cost me lots of money. Let's fire this thing up, let y'all hear what it sounds like. I appreciate you watching. I really do. Hit that like button down there. That helps me, helps grow my channel a little bit. Tell me about your project. Comment down there in the comments. You got a Cub you're working on, you dealing with the same problems? Tell me about them. We can talk about them. Also, hit the subscribe button. I do this, well, I'm hoping I'm done with this thing for the season, but there's other projects around. So if you like to watch somebody work on a project, see what they're doing with it, follow me. I'm gonna try to teach somebody something. It may be you or maybe somebody else, and who knows, I might be a bit entertaining. I might be a bit lame too, I don't know. Comment, and hey, we'll see y'all next time.